Hello, welcome back into today's video. We're doing JMA Friday today, having a look at the weather for the coming month across the British Isles. So we're going to have a look at the Japanese and American CFS V2 model to see what they're showing for the next month. This takes into the middle of April, I think going to the 15th of April. With this particular update. So going well on into the spring. It's felt a bit chilly so far this spring, so I have a look and see whether we've got any warmer weather coming up. Well, before I get on with that, just to say about the ads that Gazbo Viz. There's links to articles on all the pages. Have a browse through widgets and click through the links if there's any articles that you're interested in. Thanks so much for doing that. There's also video ads on most pages, so you open up the content, but you watch them and close back up again. It all helps to pay for our website and keeps us completely free of charge. Don't have to worry about subscriptions or anything like that. So I'm going to start off with the 500 millibar height anomaly charts from the JMA. These are broken down into weekly pairs. Now, as I say, I'll have a look at the CFS V2. So as you know, with 500 millibar heights, blue extrapolates to low pressure, and yellow, red, orange, those sort of colours extrapolate to high pressure. So for the coming week, this takes us from today, the 18th through to the 25th of March. We find we've got a ridge of high pressure out to the north and the west of the country, and a trough of low pressure is to the east across Scandinavia. So the flow goes rather like that, and it means that we bring around some quite chilly air really from the east and the northeast. So a fairly cool period coming up, but with a lot of dry and settled weather. That's going to take us well on into next week. Eventually, this may be broken down a bit later on next week, but certainly for much of next week, we are looking at a continuation of pretty dry conditions. Big change takes place as we go through into week 2. So this is from the 25th of March through to the 1st of April. And look what's happened. The area of above average heights has gone up towards Scandinavia, and then we've got this deep trough in the west and to the southwest of the country with the flow going rather like that. So it's turning much more unsettled. That's the basic idea from this. The Atlantic really breaking through here and bringing westerlies back in off the Atlantic, and bands of rain would be coming in as well. So much more unsettled here for the very end of March and into the start of April. And then week 3 and week 4, which is the 1st through to the 25th of April, looking like this. Area of above average heights goes to the north, so we've got some northern blocking there around Greenland and the polar regions, and then we've got this trough of low pressure generally to the south and the west, with the flow again coming in off the Atlantic. But we've got to watch out for this ridge up to the north. It's quite a big ridge, and it will probably be feeding down pretty cold air really from the north and possibly from the northeast as well into this trough of low pressure. So this could be a bit of a battleground type situation. Actually, you've got the trough trying to bring westerly and southwesterlies in, but this is quite a big blocking feature up to the north. That'd be trying to bring cold air down from the north and the northeast. So really it's a battleground situation. I think it's unsettled. There'd be quite a bit of rain, particularly in the south of the country, interestingly. And the temperatures, it would be interesting because we won't be far away for some pretty cold conditions. Cold for the start of April. I mean, it's not cold in terms of the middle of winter, of course, but for the start of April, probably some pretty chilly conditions trying to be pushed down from the north via that blocking. But let's have a look at the mid-latitude view. So that was the northern hemisphere view, looking down from the pole into the mid-latitudes. This is sort of the tropical and mid-latitude view. So we've got the tropics here through the middle of the chart. This is where we've got the tropics, and then to the north of that, this is the northern hemisphere, and then to the south of it, this is the southern hemisphere. And of course, the British Isles is up here in the far top right hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it. We can't see the polar regions. The North Pole is up here somewhere, and the South Pole is down there. Interesting, we don't need to worry about that, of course, but that's where the North and South Poles are on these charts. So the British Isles is just here. As we know, for the coming week, a lot of high pressure influences with above average heights. The temperatures for the coming week coming out near normal to a little bit cooler than average, and especially a little bit cooler than average down in the south, nearer normal further north. But it's not a particularly warm week coming up by any means. And the rainfall anomaly, that comes out average to a little bit drier than average. So quite a dry but fairly cool week coming up for the coming week. And then, of course, week 2 sees that low pressure really pushing back from the 25th through to the 1st of April. It really does turn much more unsettled with those westerlies starting to move back in off the Atlantic. So with this one, we find the temperature still nothing to write home about. Close to average, maybe hinting at it being a little bit below in the west particularly. And, of course, the main thing is that it's turning more unsettled as well. So the rainfall anomaly is going from dry in the first week to a little bit wetter than average in week 2. So it's probably transitional and turning more unsettled as we're going through to the very end of the month. And then, of course, for week 3 and week 4, we've got this trough sitting to the south and the west, and we know got ridging up to the north. You can't see Greenland and the North Pole, but we know up here we've got some sort of area of above average heights. So the temperatures there for that 3rd and 4th weekly period, again coming out close to average, maybe hinting at being slightly below. Not seeing a particularly great temperature deviation for the coming month, but overall it's a little bit on the cooler side, I think, than anything. But in terms of the rainfall, this is the main one, and it is going significantly wetter than average there through that week 3 and week 4 period going into the first half of April. It's quite an unsettled start to the month. So overall, the signal is starting off dry and fairly cool, staying fairly cool really into April, but becoming wetter and significantly more unsettled. That's the signal from the JMA. Right, let's have a look at CFS V2 and compare. So this is week 1 with 500 millibar heights from the CFS V2. This taking us again from the period that we're currently in, the 18th through 24th of March, and good agreement with the JMA. We've got this ridge of above average heights to the north and west, trough of low pressure to the northeast, bit of a cut-off down across Spain and Portugal. So again, a lot of dry weather, but with the flow coming around that ridge from the east, northeast, probably won't be particularly exciting temperatures. Week 2, this is when the JMA is transitioning to a more unsettled scenario. This is 25th through to the 31st of March. And, well, the trough of low pressure is deepening in the Atlantic, but we're still just about keeping a ridge of high pressure out to west. So this isn't as bad as the JMA. It is different to the JMA, though, with the flow going like that. This could be quite pleasant, actually, because the position between the trough of low pressure to the west and that ridge just to the east, say over Denmark, somewhere like that, the position of the trough of the ridge could be bringing up the air from the south or the southwest. So this could be quite warm, actually, to the very end of March. Fairly spring-like weather, although probably turning more unsettled with time. I think the trough would be starting to bring in those westerlies off the Atlantic with time. But for a while, anyway, that could be pretty decent. And it's just about coinciding with Easter as well, that. So that could be a fairly nice period right at the very end of the month. However, it all goes downhill into the start of April. So this is from the 1st through to 7th of April. And the trough of low pressure is coming back in off the Atlantic. Here it comes, bringing bouts of rain in from the west. So more unsettled really for the start of April with CFS V2. And then we go through to week 4, which is taking us from the 8th to 14th of April. And trough of low pressure is right in over top of the country then. And interestingly, in agreement with the JMA, in that got all of this red appearing up to the north. So that's quite a lot of blocking sitting over the pole and around Greenland. So again, that's trying to bring cold air out of the pole into the mid latitudes and trying to move it into this trough of low pressure. So this could be it will be an unsettled period if it comes off. It could be colder as well. Let's see how the temperatures are looking. So we have a look at week one temperatures, and a bit above that, a bit above average for Scotland, a bit below average for England and Wales for the coming week. I think it'll be generally quite a cool and dry week to come. Week 2 temperature anomalies coming out near normal, again a bit above average for Scotland, near a normal elsewhere. Those temperatures for Scotland are probably a bit over top. They're just because of the proximity of the ridge, I think. And I would suspect it'd be cooler than that suggests for Scotland. Week 3, this one sees us going a bit warmer than average there. And then week 4, it looks like for week 4, temperaturometers are about average. So again, no great deviation with the temperatures. Overall, quite a coolish end to March. And then goes a bit warmer than average for April. I'm not sure it's got that strong a signal, to be honest, in terms of these temperatures as we go through into the start of April particularly. In terms of the precipitation, so we come out significantly drier than average for the coming week. That makes sense with a ridge close to us. Week 2, which is the end of April, when the JMA wants to break this ridge down and turn it more unsettled, the CFS actually is still keeping it largely drier than average. However, the Atlantic does eventually get back, so the first week of April, that one is looking well, it's average to a little bit wetter than average, and mostly wetter than average in the west of the country. And then week 4, which places the trough right over the top of the country, remember, this is from the 8th to 14th of April, that's looking wetter than average. So the overall message from these models is that we've got this ridge at the moment. We've had it about a week. We've probably got about another week of it to go. The CFS then wants to try and keep it going to the very end of March. I'm not sure. I think the JMA probably is more on the money with this, and actually for the final sort of 5 to 7 days of March, we probably do break the ridge down and turn more unsettled. And then both models are in agreement for an unsettled first half to April, with the chance of some really quite wet conditions coming through at times early in the month of April. In terms of the temperatures, we start off quite cool. And then the signal isn't all that great, really, but I'm not seeing any sign of anything particularly warm coming up for the next month. Well, that's how the month-end look ahead is looking today. These are all experimental models, of course, not to be relied upon. Tomorrow, we're doing the week ahead forecast. That's with shorter range models. And again, that's going to encompass a lot of settled weather with high pressure tending to be quite dominant for the week ahead. Remember, on Sunday, we're launching the competition in association with metcheck.co.uk weather instrumentation. So we'll be giving away a prize. There'll be more on that on Sunday, of course. We'll tell you what the prize is, how you can enter, all of that sort of thing. But it is coming up again, so it's a bit of a giveaway. That's all for now then, and thanks for watching.